and I really enjoyed doing it, so I'm happy to be doing it right now. With that being said, I have two rules for today. First one is to do with a word called sir, and I don't like it, so please refrain from calling me that. You can call me Shreyas, I enjoy my name. And the second one is to do with questions. I like a lot of questions, so if you have any doubts or anything, feel free to stop me and ask me a question relating to the topic at any time. Right? Okay. Now, before I start off the thing, I'm going to ask you all a question, and I want answers right now. How many of you have Apple? Oh, I mean the Apple. You know, the iPhone making, iPod making, MacBook making Apple. You can lift your hands up high. I'm not going to take you to jail or something. Okay. So, I have bad news for you today because we're going to hate you. Because, you know, our topic is the little green thing, Android. So, we're going to be talking about this guy today. And I'm going to be focusing on only 4 places, okay? What is Android? I'm going to be talking about the history, the layers, and the native applications. So, what is Android? And okay, actually someone stole my point, I had the slide, but okay. How many of you think Android is an operating system? Lift your hands. Okay. So yes, Android is an OS, or no, Android is something else. So Android is not an operating system.
Oh,
Android, what Android is it's a software stack. Like that point was taken. So it's a software stack that's based off the Linux kernel and comes with the operating system, middleware, and the key applications. So the operating system is nothing but a part of the Android, but not Android itself. So I think it's safe to say Android isn't just an operating system, it's something more. Right? So what it is it's also open source, which means that you as a developer or a tester can take it and, you know, give stuff back to Android, or you can break the system, test it, you know, submit bugs and stuff like that. So at this juncture, I'd like to tell you all one thing. Personally, I think that the only right way to do software is through open source, because there are so many more talented people out there than you. I always believe in this thing that there's at least one person in this room who's better than me. So, you know, there's always somebody who's better than you, who can solve your problems much easily than you can actually solve it yourself. So, I would encourage you all to either join an open source project, or if you have the idea enough, please do start an open source project, because you're going to, in the end, get a lot from it. Because, you know, when you're doing open source, there are so many people collaborating on the same thing that you will understand the way to program. You will understand standards as to how other people do it. So you will be enriched with your own knowledge much more better, right? Okay, enough of deviating. Let me get back. So let's say you're a developer and you want to do something with Android. It's very simple. All you have to do is go to this weird thing, the developer.android.com/SDK, and get this thing called as a software development kit. Now that contains all the tools and stuff. Of course, along with it, you need to know a little bit of Java and have a little bit of brains, but I'm sure all of you all do have that right now. And you can get this link thing, developer.android.com. But I mean, this is just for link purposes. You can just go to android.com and you'll find all this stuff here. So this is a very nice place to start. And moving forward, let's just jump right into the history. Okay, now history, as always, is visualized on a timeline, right, from when it started to right now. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's jump back to 2003, October, at Palo Alto in California. This is where Android Inc. was founded. And it was founded by 4 people: Andy Rubin, Rich Warner, Nick Sears, and Chris White. Now, I should say sorry to Chris White, because I tried to find his image in a lot of places, but I didn't end up with anything. That's why I've given him text. So, and they had a motto saying, smarter mobile devices that are more aware of the owner's location and preferences. This was their aim when they started Android Inc. Right? So then when we jump to August 2005, that's where Mr. Big G comes into play. Google acquired Android. Now Google has this fascination to acquire good startup companies. They acquire startup companies that make sense to their line of business, and they thought Android made sense, so that's why they acquired it. along with Acquire and Android, which means they got 4 of them on board. And this was when Google was planning to enter the mobile market, but they were mainly rumors, nothing else. And when you move to 2006 to early 2007, that's when the focus was purely development. And this part was just rumors, nothing else. They were saying that there was a team that was doing Android development, headed by Andy Rubin, and based on the Linux kernel, like we already said. And that's when they started sparking the rumors of a Google handset, right? And in late 2007 is when it actually started making sense, because then the Open Handset Alliance was formed. Now this thing is just a mix of companies trying to do something. So the companies like Motorola, Intel, HTC and all that stuff, they started forming this group, and they had one goal, was to develop open standards for mobile devices. That's what the Open Handset Alliance was. That's when it actually became confirmed that someone is coming out with an Android based phone. So this is as much as history that I thought made sense for all of us to know. And me being a geek, I like version history. So, okay, 1.0 and 1.1 were released somewhere in September and in February 2008 and 9. Now, what they did was, they started naming things very nicely. They started saying, okay, we'll name them in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D stuff. So, 1.0 and 1.1, they didn't have names, so A and B were gone. So, from 1.5 naming started. There should be some Android fan people around here, right? Okay. So, I want you guys to guess. 1.5 was released April 2009. What was it called? Take a guess. Pardon me? No, it starts with C, but what is it called? Okay, yeah, okay. 1.6 September 2009. 2.1 October 2009. E.
Eclair.
It was called Eclair. 2.2 May 2010. It was F.
Froyo.
Froyo. Yeah, right. And 2003 December 2010. Yeah. So now what they did was, they realized that this was becoming a good platform to do something, which is why they went mainstream and they started taking it to tablets. Now tablets are a revolutionary device, and they started competing with the all very known Apple. So they were competing against the iPad, and that's when they released a version of Android that was meant only for tablets, and that was called
Honeycomb.
People in the front seat.
Honeycomb.
Yeah, it was called Honeycomb. Okay, so then now what they did was, they took these two different kinds of OSs. They took the ones that were meant for phone, they took the ones that were meant for tablets, and they're going to join it together and release it in Q4 of 2011. Now this is something that's not yet released, so only true Android fans will know this. Can anyone give me the name? If you know the name, please stand up and give me the name.
I'm going to give a goodie or something.
Seriously? Okay. It's called Ice Cream Sandwich. So that was I. So yeah, that's about much as the history goes. Now is when we start getting into technical stuff. Let's move into the layers. Right? So when we talk layers, okay, I went and looked up layers on Wikipedia, and I found a very interesting thing, which I'm going to read it out in a very familiar tone to you guys probably. So they say, the Android open source software stack based on the Linux kernel consists of Java applications running on a Java-based object-oriented application framework on top of Java core libraries running on a Dalvik virtual machine featuring JIT combination and blah 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 blah. Okay, let's face it, we've done this all our lives in schools and colleges, and we are not really going to understand if we read stuff like this, right? So I'm going to try to break it down to you guys and explain in a way that I found understandable, right? So we looked at this before, the software stack having key applications, the OS, middleware and the Linux kernel. So these are basically the layers, but let's go through this one by one, right? So the first one we're going to look at is the Linux kernel. Now the Linux kernel on the architecture diagram that these fancy Google people showed looked something like that. But what it actually means is they use the 2.6 version of the Linux kernel. On a side note, do you know what version Linux is on right now? 3.0 just got rolled a couple of days ago, so just for information purposes. So 2.6 was the version that they used, and along with it came security, memory management, process management, network stack and driver models. So the Linux kernel diagram shown here is basically the drivers. So what they did was they took all these driver information from an already existing system such as Linux, which is pretty stable, okay, very stable and very secure, and they took it and they started building on top of it. That's what they did. So the next one we go is to middleware. Now, according to me, middleware is one of the most interesting parts of the whole Android software stack, because it's very interesting to discuss this. So, middleware is formed by two things, libraries and the Android runtime. Right? The libraries are written in C and C++. Is there anyone who can tell me why they are written in C and C++?